My two new albums, Renegade and The Revolution, just dropped, and the only place in the world you can get them is hangovergang.com. I can't even believe I'm saying that because it almost killed me, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. But first, let me just say this is not an album and a mixtape. For the first time ever, this is 2 albums. 2 full albums at the same time, 34 songs. This took me to the edge, to be completely and brutally honest. I almost gave up altogether. And this is the absolute last time that I ever dropped 2 projects at once. These 2 new albums took more out of me than I will ever possibly be able to get back. Every album that I work on comes with an incredible amount of pressure. Pressure to live up to the last album, pressure to live up to people's expectations, pressure to exceed my own, pressure to just be better. And after my Us Against the World album last year and massive songs like Fake Woke and Snowflakes and Dear Slim, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it. I had reached the very peak of the independent musician mountain. And when there's nobody else to compete with, how do you begin to compete with yourself? When you're on top of the world, where do you go from there? Being at the top is an extremely stressful place to be in because more often than not, there's only one direction for people to go, and that's down. They fall off. In most cases, your only option is to accept that you can't get any higher. I couldn't accept that though. I had to go higher. Even if it killed me, I had to go higher. I figured out how to build a ladder on top of a mountain, and every single day I added more rungs to that ladder and more rungs to that ladder, and I just kept climbing and I just kept pushing myself, and I just refused to go down. I refused to fall off. This is a very scary confession to make, but I almost quit when I was recording these albums. And not like a moment of frustration where you like throw your hands up in the air and just walk away from something for a moment. I mean, I actually almost really, for real quit. Quit like calling my parents in tears because the process was unbearable. Quit like collapsing in Nova's arms because I was absolutely, totally exhausted. Quit like screaming to my best friend Brandon on the phone for hours because I wanted to do something impossible. I wanted to do something impossible and I was afraid that I'd fail. I wanted everything to be so good. I wanted it to exceed everything that I've ever done by such a great distance that it was impossible to even make a comparison. It had to be better than Us Against the World, and better than Gravestones, and better than Ghost Stories, and better than Death Threats. I had to make these albums the best. And if I couldn't, what was the point? It took me a little while to figure out how to do it, but I did it. And I really did it. Like, I did it. And you guys are the only reason that I didn't give up. I wanted to quit so badly. I was anxious and depressed and overwhelmed and frustrated. I wanted to be gone and I just wanted it to be over. But I couldn't leave you guys. I couldn't leave you, man. All the Hangover Gang tattoos and the kids running around in Tom McDonald shirts and families listening to my music, I just could not walk away. I had to find a way to push through. It's this whole journey that we've been on together, and no matter if I was fighting the music industry or dealing with anxiety and depression or whatever I was going through, you guys were at my side. And for that, I've realized that no matter how hard it gets or how much it hurts, I will never leave your side. I never told anybody this, but I lost myself after the Brave album with Adam Calhoun. It was my 9th album into an incredible non-stop 4-year run, and I was just like, what else do I have to say? What else can I give people that they haven't gotten already or that they can't get from somebody else? What else can I give people at this point? I lost who I was. And I had to find myself in a big way to make these 2 new albums possible. I had to approach my music in an entirely new way, from a different angle, with a new process, in a different headspace. Because sometimes you get caught up in being this like viral sensation and the train comes off the tracks a little bit. And I wanted to get back to my roots as an artist with these 2 new albums. I wanted to reapproach and reinvent and refresh everything. And I'm so I'm so thankful that I did exactly that. With my past albums, I was recording a song a day, easy, no problem. I'd make a beat in the morning, write the song in the afternoon, and record the song in the evening. And if it turned out to be a 10 out of 10, then great, perfect. And when they turned out to be a 6 out of 10, I was like, fine, that's cool. Just another song done, another song on the album. I guess I can't do any better than that. Maybe my vision wasn't totally realized, and maybe it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted to, but at least it was done. It's like I was afraid to work any harder than I already was, because I was scared that I either couldn't handle it or I wasn't capable of doing what I was trying to do. I could not do that this time with these 2 new albums. This time, everything from beats to songs to concepts to choruses to verses to flows to everything had to be 10 out of 10. It had to. And the only way to make the best album of my life, a career-defining album, was to put myself through hell and pray to God that I could handle it. And because of that attitude, every drop of sweat, every drop of blood, every tear, every smile, every feeling, every idea, every thought, everything from the past year is wrapped up in these 34 songs on these 2 new albums. These new albums, things that were taking me a day before, were taking me 4 days now. I was paying such close attention to even the smallest detail. I made everything bigger and louder and more intense and more gut-wrenching and more complex and just better. It's the best that I've ever done. I feel like I evolved as a rapper and as a producer and as a person. I poured in more heart and showed more soul and gave more of me to these albums than I ever thought was possible. I spent days making one section of a beat, and I spent days writing and rewriting and perfecting beats and perfecting messaging and perfecting flows and perfecting every aspect of everything that I was doing. It changed the way I make music forever. I'm talking quality control with the most strict standards that I have ever implied to anything that I've ever created. Ever. And it's not even close. The whole purpose of these albums, the only reason I beat myself up so bad and put myself through so much hell, was so that the moment you press play on this album, you think, whoa, this is the best thing Tom ever did. This album was transformative for me, and I hope it's transformative for you. Music has always been an escape for me. And when you start creating it at the highest level, sometimes it starts to feel like you're on autopilot. When you're doing everything yourself, no record label, no manager, no producers, no marketing, no distribution, no songwriters, nothing, no music industry involvement at all. When you're doing everything yourself, it can start to feel like work. And music should never feel like my job. It should feel like my escape. So I had to escape music for a moment. I had to leave. You might have noticed I released less videos this year than ever before. I posted less on social media. I did the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do, and that was take a step back. I went up into the sky and I looked down on everything from 1,000,000 feet, and I just took some time for myself for the first time in 5 years. I don't even remember the last 5 years a lot of the time, because I've been working so damn hard. It was a really important moment for me. And I'm actually so grateful, because in that time that I took to reflect on what I've done and look at what other people were doing, I realized that I can do something so much better than all of it. And it made me fall in love with this all over again. And music once again became my escape. The best music comes from your desire to express yourself, and your need to be heard and understood, and your love of the music, not your willingness to do your job. I look at life like a staircase. You always have to be wanting to take that next step up and never take a step down. And once in a while, the staircase leads to a door, and you never know what's on the other side of that door. Maybe it's the success that you've been chasing after. Maybe it's tough times. Maybe it's just another staircase, who knows? Maybe the door won't even open. And if that's the case, you have to kick it down. It's scary and it's dangerous and it's hard not knowing what you're walking into, but you have to do it. And I am so grateful that I kicked that door down, because on the other side of it, Today, I invite you to walk through that door with me and experience what almost killed me to create. My 2 new albums, Renegade and The Revolution, are out now, only at hangovergang.com. If you want mass-produced pop culture garbage, you'll find that at Walmart or on streaming platforms. But if you want a real piece of counterculture that you can hold in your hands, you found it. Welcome to the black market. I love you all so much. I thank you all so much. Thank you for riding this out with me. I'm sorry I'm late, but it almost didn't happen at all. And it wouldn't have happened without you guys. I love you. I thank you so much. It's Hangover Gang forever. I'm sorry I cried like a little baby so many times. Grab your 2 new albums, hangovergang.com. Peace.